I've been back now for a week and a half, and I've been living alone over the winter for a few months. My partner came and we both lived here for a while, but it was just like a temporary stay. Now I'm living fully alone and navigating that long distance relationship for a little bit so that I can deepen my relationship with myself, which needs tending right now. I was in a very good place when I first got here, and then last week, somewhere in the middle of last week, I got my period, and from there, like, it just went downhill, and I've been waking up every day with like anxiety. I'm gonna go to yoga. It's actually a body art class. Let's go align our chakras and balance out our energies. Gosh, I need this right now.
C'était vraiment génial. Ouais, j'ai essayé. Oh, mais là, je vais venir demain à midi. Non, mais ils sont vraiment, c'est...
Yoga was great, but I'm feeling super tender. It's always making all the energies in the body move. I had a very lovely call with a friend tonight, and you know these kind of friends that just make you feel less alone, and that you can be on a 1 hour call or more with, and it's like deeply nourishing, and it's like everything is like, it's like not one-sided, and it's just feels good. It was one of those calls, and I'm so grateful for it and for that specific friend. Now it's late and I'm tired, so I'm probably just gonna read a few pages of my book and fall asleep very soon. I have been in a phase where I've been asking myself a lot, like, what my life purpose is. I've been feeling quite uninspired at times, or more than uninspired, more like unsure of how to implement all the changes that have gone within me into my work and how I want that to manifest in my work. I am headed to the bakery real quick because tonight I'm having dinner with my neighbor and we're making burgers. So I want to get us like nice bread.
I can't be in it.
You're not in it.
I feel like my hair's grey.
Your hair is what? I was thinking about the whole like living alone thing, but as much as like I have beautiful memories of living alone and really enjoy that with myself, I think that the older I get, the more realize I actually want to share life with someone. And that's great because I've got a partner and he's wonderful and he's extremely supportive and loving and everything, and he's supportive of me cultivating that relationship with myself, and I think that's so important. Who's that? However, I must say, as much as I'm like loving living alone and this place is actually really perfect for one person, it's definitely been like kind of a transition phase right now. The first little bit that when I arrived back from Cape Town, I was like in a super good place and I was so excited to be taking on this life again. And I think I also kind of like unhealthfully expected things to just like figure themselves out and just go back to where they were like years ago or where I was years ago, completely disregarding the fact that I have grown and I'm a new person now. I'm still Chloe, but like, you know, I've grown and I've changed and my habits are different and like my needs are different and I'm in a different place in my life. I think that like in YouTube videos it can be so easy to like romanticize the living alone or romanticize the relationships and just like show the good and fun parts of, you know, those possible situations. But regardless of like living alone, living with flatmate, living with a partner, like there are going to be times that are just a little bit more tricky and where they're just like a little bit more sticky, and even if we live with a partner, we're still gonna kind of have to figure it out on our own. We'll always have support from people around us, but eventually like it comes down to like, what's the relationship we're having with ourselves? Like, are we being there for ourselves? Are we listening to those emotions that are coming up? Are we tending to them and to ourselves in the same way? So this has been what's been present for me right now. Also, this lip gloss kind of like exploded in the plane, you know, because like the pressure. So I'm running out of lip balm. I usually prefer lip balm, but you know, I'm just gonna use what I have right now. This is gonna do the trick for today. Also, I'm gonna do a little matcha. Did you know that it's better to use wooden stencils when you're picking like honey in a jar? I'm sure there's science behind it, which I don't know about, but that's something I've heard and I've been doing, and I actually really enjoy like the process of doing it with a little wooden spoon. Some of you also asked how I foam my milk. I use this like milk frother by Earth Eco. It was part of a package I received a long time ago. I know you can buy like similar types of these. I remember like growing up, my mom had bought one of those, and it works really well and it's very easy to like clean, and you just need to buy milk that will foam. I personally use mostly soy milk or oat milk. The one that foams the best is soy milk, so if you're using another type of plant milk, that might be the reason why it's not really foaming. I just wanted to be fully honest and share with you that I've not been feeling really good in myself recently, and being in this phase has been quite difficult for me to be exposed, and that includes like making videos. Just like so many of my insecurities started coming up. Filming those videos has been really like a big step out of my comfort zone, whereas it was so simple and easy for me to do before. And I find that in times when I'm doing very well, I'm very excited about the things in my life in general, and I want to share with you guys, then like it's a lot easier for me to be expressive and extroverted and share my life in general with you or people around me. But I noticed that when I go through change or just like more internal places where I'm feeling a little tender, I'm feeling a little bit more introverted, a little bit more insecure as well. I get a little shy. Yeah, is this even having an impact, you know? Is it helping you guys, or is it inspiring you guys still? Like, I think I put so much pressure on myself to always be like inspiring, like almost this like constant need to be this ideal version of myself, and I can never be the wounded part of myself, or the more like maybe sad part of myself, or fearful, like scared part of myself. And recently, like, I have had to deal with those parts of myself so much, and it's been really difficult, like harder to embody that like confident and strong and sure of herself Chloe, you know, like, which is part of me as well, and it's always there, and it's not like it's gone and stayed in South Africa, or, you know, I know it's still in me, but that's not been the part that's most present right now in my life. And I find that like it's like a muscle that I need to train again, more so want to train again, while at the same time not avoiding the other parts, you know, not avoiding that. I've been feeling quite sad lately. There's been a lot of change in my personal life, and especially in my family relationships. For now, this is something I'd like to keep private. But that's been affecting me a lot, and there's been a lot of grief associated with that. And I think that until now, there was still like hope that we could resolve things together. And recently coming to terms with the fact that certain members of my family are not willing question themselves and work on themselves, so that we can work together in building a more authentic and honest relationship. You're only responsible for your part, and they're responsible for their part. And I think that I'm very grateful that I was able to have that discernment and not trying to save people or fix people, and just accept where they are. But that also meant me removing myself from those relationships, and that also does include like a part of grief and a part of acceptance. I don't know if we're ever gonna be in contact again, and still like you need to let go, and that process takes time. That's what's been going on for me, and I wanted to share and like be honest. And I also wanted to share some books that I've been reading. I am halfway through Make Some Noise by Andrea Owen. It's called Speak Your Mind and Own Your Strength. My God, this thing is filled with a lot of little gems, and definitely like things to journal about. Yeah, it's very like clear and practical and like in your face kind of thing. I feel like this is a book, I've been reading it like pretty fast because it's been so interesting, but to actually implement these principles, it does take time. So I like to like highlight things in it and then like come back to it to actually like practice those things and realize where I'm not already practicing those things in my life. So that's been really nice. It's kind of like giving me that sense of like, okay, stop the bullshit. For the past, I would say like week or so, I've been more in this like grieving state, and my heart has just been grieving a lot, and so I've been a bit sad, I have to say. I've been reading Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown, and it's on my Kindle, and it's called The Quest for True Belonging and the Courage to Stand Alone. As I moved back to Switzerland, I thought, oh yeah, like I grew up here and some of my family is here, and so like it's just all gonna go back to what it was. What I didn't think about is that I've changed as a person, and I'm experiencing a lot of like this like feeling of, where do I belong? Do I actually belong here? It's made me realize a lot of like where I don't belong or with whom I don't belong. I realized that there were certain situations where I didn't want to be part of anymore. Having had such a big shift in my family relationships, it's oftentimes gonna be rippled through other areas of life, because family is a lot like consciously or unconsciously kind of like at the core of that, and that's like where we come from. And once we step away from this, we realize like how in many areas of our lives we've like repeated where we come from, and suddenly we're like, oh, I actually don't agree certain things about where I come from. And you know, that's what I mean by ripple effect. It's been tough because I said back home in South Africa, so that's like, it definitely feels like a home for me. I had met few people. Well, I met a lot of people, but there was very few people that I built close friendships with. But those friendships have been the most intimate, close, safe, abundant, loving friendships I've ever had in my life. Realizing that I didn't have these kind of friendships here, or not in the same way, has been really tough to just say goodbye to those friends I had made there. Oh, I'm getting emotional. I'm just realizing how much I miss those people. How much I felt like I belonged, and that like really close sense of community, which I had never really felt in my life. Yeah, I realized how precious it is. It really felt a bit like the family I chose as opposed to like the one I was born in. And so I feel kind of ripped away from my like now family, or my adult family, let's say. And that is making me feel really, really sad. That was vulnerable, and that's what Brene Brown talks about, so that's beautiful. I just came back from a weekend away with a really good friend of mine, and that totally resetted me. That was so nourishing, and I feel so ready to kick the next week. It's crazy how like stuck I had been feeling for a while, and there's so much like emotional release that needed to occur. Those emotions were there to show me where I'm not acting authentically and honestly in my life. And I had this very strong feeling of like not belonging last week. I really felt like, oh, I don't belong here. Like, why did I move back to Switzerland? And I realized, holy moly, like if I'm constantly trying to belong looking at something external, like I'm actually never really gonna belong. And I was reading Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown this weekend, and that's when I had like a big aha moment. And she shared, you're only free when you realize you belong no place. You belong every place, no place at all. The price is high, but the reward is great. And what she meant by that is that you don't belong to a certain group of people. You don't belong to a place. Like there might be people you feel like you belong around, your family that you choose to create, or the people you choose to be around. But you can't rely on that. You need to belong to yourselves, because if you don't, then you're going to shift to what's external out of you instead of trusting your inner shifts and growth. And she said, being ourselves means sometimes having to find the courage to stand alone, totally alone. There will be moments or times where your experience, your story, your authentic self will not resonate with anyone, even the people you're most close with. And that's when you need to find true belonging within yourself. And that's totally what I'm in right now. There's so much of myself that I'm able to share with people around me, which is absolutely beautiful. But there's also, it becomes really clear once you realize that belonging is something that you want to build from within. You get to build from within. You don't have to, but you get to build from within. It becomes really clear that it's not something to achieve or accomplish with others, but it's to achieve and accomplish within yourself, so that automatically, kind of like naturally, you're going to be magnetic and attracting the right people into your life. It does require a lot of action. Being true to yourself might mean quitting a job, quitting certain friendships, not talking to certain family members anymore because they're depleting you and they're not respecting you, or they're gaslighting you. And I want to talk from my own experience, is that sometimes I've veered off so far from my actual path that then it felt like a huge mountain to overcome in like getting rid of like what actually wasn't mine in the first place. And that can feel very daunting and discouraging, but I really want to encourage you to take one thing at a time and really like take your time with it. It's not a race, but know what you want, and then little by little take action in the direction that will bring you back to where your center, your authentic self lays, as opposed to further avoid those truths and eventually come like far away from who you actually are. Yeah, sometimes we want to just like go back and that can be really harsh, and we might not be able to do it. We might not be able to do it in the most like gentle way. It might like bring up like uncomfortable conversations, conflict, you know. It's a period of a transition, and you don't need to do it all at once. You don't need to like break up, move, quit your job, and like start new friendships all at once. Like sometimes when you realize like, oh my god, there's a lot in my life that's actually not serving me, where do I start? And that's the same thing as like decluttering a house. You can't declutter it all at once. You have to like pick certain areas and go little by little. It's the same when it comes to like our connection with the world, the external world. I've received so many messages from you listening to the Chaos Cocoon podcast saying that you absolutely love it. It feels like really authentic and honest. And that's like the best compliment to who I want to be in this world. So yeah, all of that to say that I'm so grateful you're here. Last year I was going through such a tough time. It was very difficult for me to show myself authentically and honestly online fully, because I was going through one of the hardest time in my whole life, and that was not something I was ready to face first by myself, but then have other people watch me as I face that, and especially like the public. So yeah, I just wanted to say like huge thank you for giving me the space to face those things in the way that was needed for me at the time. And now I feel like I'm having strength again and stability to share again more with you. With all of what I've lived last year and all of this space and time that I've given myself to process whatever I was going through, the Chaos Cocoon, the podcast, was born, and I want to develop that into something bigger that I want to share with you guys. And so I'm currently redoing my website, which I have created with Squarespace a couple years ago, and it's been a beautiful journey. And I want to share with you that if you're in a place or in a year where you're wanting to launch something, you're wanting to share something of yourself, whether it's just like writing or images or videos or a course, or you want to create art and sell it online, or you want to offer certain products that you don't see anywhere else on the market, Squarespace is an awesome place to build a website, an online store, an online community. You can do so much with it, and I find that like the internet is a bit of like this bittersweet thing for me, like social media in general. But I must say, the internet is also such a great tool, and I think that the more I look at like creating my website, having my website and using that as a tool, the more I see the abundance and the richness that there is in technology and the internet. If you want to give it a try, like design your own website without cost, to just even have an idea of what it feels like, what it looks like, what you might want, you can go to squarespace.com/Kloikien, and with that link you'll get a free trial, but alongside you'll also get a 10% off your order of a domain or a website as soon as you're willing to launch. Big thank you to Squarespace for working with me this week, and big thank you to you guys for using this link and automatically supporting this channel as well. Yeah, to belonging to ourselves, being our true authentic selves on all planes of life, including the internet. So yeah, that's it for my speech. Oh my god, I've been talking for so long. I could talk about this for hours. So I'm thinking about launching like live events with you guys where we can like all hang out and chat about those things, and I can share things with you guys and we can like exchange. I love teaching things. I love learning things. I love learning from others. I love developing and growing together. So yeah, that's like kind of my vision right now. All right, that's it for today. I've shared a lot. I'm gonna split all of the things that I want to share with multiple videos, because otherwise every video is gonna be like an hour and a half. Chloe, focus. See, that's also my authentic self. So yeah, this is a big area of growth for me, but I think it's to pace myself. It's like, Chloe, you have so many meaningful things to share, but like, take one thing at a time and like split it up and share it in multiple videos, you know, like you don't need to say everything at once. But I think because I like hold so much back sometimes for long phases and think like whatever I'm having to say is not worthy to be heard. And then whenever I'm like, yeah, Chloe, you can do it. You're worthy to be heard and understood. And like some people are going to resonate and some people won't, and that's okay. But like go and do it. And then once I do it, then like I can't never stop. So I've been recording for 25 minutes. This is great. All right. I'll see you in the next video.